Hello folks, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Grumble, and I've returned to give you my impressions of Cult of the Lamb, the full game this time. I previously recapped/reviewed the demo. You can find the link in the description below. I've also written some metafiction based on the game's ending and continuous gameplay loop, The Remains of the Cult. I've included the link to that as well. So, how does the game hold up compared to the demo? My expectations for the game were met fully and indeed exceeded. I loved playing the demo. It showcased the main gameplay and at least some of the variations in combat and other mechanics very well. And in the main game, I was honestly bowled over by the many different combat types, additional farming and management mechanics, and the sheer variety of doctrine and rituals. I had great fun playing the demo on stream for a bit, and playing the full game through to the end, I never once got bored. This is down to the excellent work put into making each environment unique, the delightful music and sound design, the dynamic ways in which the AI screws with you as you're doing your best to manage your cult and its followers. You level up your character's access to better weapons and curses automatically if you do sermons. If you fancy the extra challenge, I suppose you can just leave those by the wayside. Collecting devotion from followers during sermons means you automatically level up in base damage and new types of swords, daggers, gauntlets, axes, and hammers, as well as curses. Cult of the Lamb is genuinely the first game where, upon being given fire or explosive-based melee abilities, I've not immediately and repeatedly set my own character on fire, so kudos. If I had to rank my favorite weapon types, then axes and swords would come at the top, then daggers and gauntlets, then the hammers. The hammers do incredibly high damage, with the drawback being slow speed. This is compensated by the fact that you are not locked into the animation. You can adjust the hammer's target literally mid-swing, and you can always just dodge out of the way of an incoming attack. Still, it requires more patience to get used to than hitty swords and daggers. I love the axes because they do more base damage, and while they are a tad slower than blades, have greater reach. For curses, I love projectile and homing curses, most of all the Hounds of Fate. The ice-based curses are great as well, freezing or stunning enemies caught in the blast radius. Great for crowd control, especially with more agile enemy types like spiders and hopping toads. On balance, you spend much more time at the camp than you do crusading, and that suits me just fine. There is a little lurch in the beginning where you are woefully short on resources, and it will behoove you to go out on runs a little more speedily as soon as you've fed everyone. But the further you get along and the more shrine upgrades you unlock and the more people you have to manage, the frequency of going out on crusades will wane. Once you've defeated the boss of one of the 4 regions, the enemies in those regions will grow tougher as you come through again, and there will be new bosses in their place. However, the upshot is that you can keep going instead of immediately returning to the camp after a boss encounter. You will be rewarded with more resources and more valuable weapons and curses as you continue through the region. You can keep going for as long as you want, or you get too many notifications about unhappy, starving, possibly dead or scared of death cultists and hightail it home. The world keeps turning, you see, and while you're away, your followers will go about their lives and may just spontaneously decide to spew blasphemous falsehoods in your absence if faith dips too low in the wake of death and devastation. Your followers age and will eventually die. There are mechanics such as sacrifice and murder to control the numbers on your own. If you want to let nature run its course, you'll still have the chance to either resurrect or bury your followers, or turn them into fertilizer. You can feed them to the others too. Just make sure you have all the paperwork in order and they sign the organ donor form if you're playing with friends and name the cultists after them. Consent is everything. The farming mechanics are delightfully demonic Stardew Valley, and the follower management elements, owing to the cuteness of the character models, make this game a more involved version of Animal Crossing New Horizons. Followers strike up friendships and romantic attachments, and yes, you're going to have to help them with the wooing. They don't get out much. And they do occasionally accuse each other of stealing or heresy, respectively. It's up to you to stick someone in the stocks for something they didn't do, though, because you can literally read their minds. Every interaction with a main cult event will be recorded, including fun or drab conversations with other followers. And if 2 cultists love each other very much, you'll hear smoochy sounds echoing across the grounds. But don't worry, you can get in on the action too, if that's your thing. You yourself can opt to marry followers, and at random, a cultist may come up to you and profess their love and undying devotion. You get the choice though, and you get it a few times over. You can take no spouse at all, or several. The others might get jealous though, so beware. I'm not sure what the tipping point in terms of numbers is, as I've not yet had more than 3 spouses at once, and so far I've experienced no discord. The marriage mechanic itself isn't a huge deal. It simply adds a smooch your spouse option to the menu when you interact with them. Other notable interactions: pet the dog for followers in the dog form, imprison for heretics and thieves. Triggering this while talking to them rather than assigning someone to the stocks will produce a hilarious animation of a chain hand grabbing them and hauling them across the meadow, which is very funny. Another thing I appreciate is the bed rest mechanic. When a cultist is sick, you can tell them to head to the beds and rest so they'll get better, as otherwise they might still wander around instead of recuperating. Once you've unlocked and built the healing bay, taking care of your poor sick kids gets even easier. This will make up for all the bowls of grass and minced follower meat you made them eat because you forgot to do the harvesting. One special shout out goes to the building mechanic. Once they're constructed, you can easily move buildings and decorations across the grounds at no additional cost. Just plop them down and you're good. This really takes the stress out of the early game, knowing you're not locked into arrangements. Plus, redecorating is fun. I always end up with my cemetery in the same spot though. I don't know what's up with that. Donna has joined us. Say hi! Even when faith is low, there's a few quick ways to lift the mood again. Call for a sermon, and while you've got everyone in the temple, make sure you have enough bones on hand for a ritual or two. Especially the harvest and feast rituals get everyone right set up again after a disappointing crusade or a few too many deaths and quarrels. You do also lose points if you decline quests, so especially in the early game it makes sense to run with what you get. Yes, even if that is making someone eat a bowl of poop as a prank. Is it nice? No. But neither is murdering someone in the night, and followers will literally come up and ask you to shank them, so I don't know what to tell you. The story itself is concentrated on defeating the 4 bishops and busting the chains keeping the one who waits prisoner in limbo. Once you've done that, and here please beware spoilers for the big finale, you must make a choice. If you are the shepherd, but you stand in service to someone else, then who are you? And once you no longer act as the herald of the one below, who will you be? At the end of the main campaign, you must decide whether to fight your divine patron or submit. If you fight, you're in for a multi-stage boss battle that is equal parts badass and horrifying, mostly on account of the number of collective eyes you're staring into and that blood will eventually ooze out of. It's a fun time. After you've defeated your old boss, there's no one left to lead the flock but you. And so the cult continues to live and grow and die and live and grow and die all over again. Once you've maxed out all shrine and temple upgrades, you no longer receive devotion, but coin. This overbalances the game's economy vastly, as you can basically go out and buy as much stuff as you want, except there's not much left to buy. You can expand the farm, of course, and you buy seeds from the snail merchant to supplement your stock. You can buy whatever follower forms, tarot cards, and decoration items you're still missing. You can buy as much as you need from merchants you encounter in the world. Most importantly, of course, you can risk all your savings playing Knucklebones against Ratau and his dice-cracking friends. Or you can chuck it all down Midas's golden well and see what comes back. It's the stunk market, basically. Get those turnips while they're fresh. Still, very quickly, you'll end up with so much cash that it gets a little bit funny. Hopefully, whatever additional content is coming will make it easier to spend some of that coin for those who kept playing on that save past the game's main ending. The bishops each do their best to make your life miserable, and the severity of the fuckery you have to endure does increase with each region you successfully liberate. Not that anyone's going to thank you for that, by the way. It escalates so much that after illness and starving, you must fight your own followers turned into puppets by Shamura, the final region boss. You'll learn just how attached you've grown to your little cult gremlins when that happens. On top of still playing on my complete save, however, I've also started a new game to play the game on stream, and I can happily inform you that replay value is high. Not least because on another save you get to try out all the doctrines and rituals you didn't pick the first time, but also because even if you know how everything works, going through the building phase and discovering the regions again is fun. Cult of the Lamb is very good at not making it feel like a grind. Even the poop collection. Look, if you're here, then you've probably already heard about the poop, but just in case you haven't, it's a thing. No one tells you before you start that a good part of your day as a demonic cult leader will be spent chasing down turds to keep everyone healthy and hygiene levels up, but here we are. Chase the poop. Don't worry, once you've unlocked the sanitation facilities and better outhouses, this will cease to be your problem. But come on, if you spot a duty, pick it up. If you've watched me play it on stream or seen it in other places and it's made you want to pick it up but you're concerned about difficulty level, as one viewer pointed out they were having flashbacks to that one time I streamed Hades and did a lot of yelling, then I can honestly say it's much, much easier than Hades. It has distinct difficulty settings and playing on easy mode makes it really accessible. I have improved at Hades, mainly just building up the muscle memory and learning to anticipate how dungeon mobs work, but I am still stressed every time I play it. With Cult of the Lamb, I'm not stressing. I could at this point probably hike up the difficulty a little bit and I'd be fine, but I'm enjoying easy mode. Don't at me. The game is really good at rewarding you for taking on the challenge, very reliably replenishing your health as you run low. There's plenty of special chambers that will grant you boons and extra items. One very useful one for extended runs that grants you to keep all of your items and resources upon death. You also meet several more NPCs that will help you complete side quests in order to adorn your shepherd in even fancier fleeces. Those items are entirely optional though, as you can complete the game without ever touching those or even the crown abilities you can obtain through defeating the 4 bishops and harvesting their hearts. As I mentioned earlier, you can ignore the side quests and just do your own thing, but I would definitely recommend at least visiting the NPCs across the map. They genuinely add so much character to the game through their designs, quirks, and dialogue. Cult of the Lamb is poised to nab Game of the Year for me. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, I am still enjoying it, and it is definitely a title I will keep coming back to. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and a comment on your way home. If you've played Cult of the Lamb and you love it as much as I do, please tell me about it. If you've not touched it yet, but my review has nudged you one step closer to getting it, please tell me that too. I love making people do things. There's links in the description box below if you want to support the channel. If you're not yet subscribed, hit that button, hit the bell icon so that you don't miss any of what's coming up next. I hope that you have a lovely, wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you again soon.